Day to day is usually just, at least during the weekdays, I have some graduate school classes, and then in the free time I'm painting, trying to get a little bit of exercise in. I am an avid lacrosse player, so I like to sometimes do that. I like to get exercise, I like to explore. I love going to museums. I'm a huge history nerd. I love to read. I'm having a good time, just hanging out with friends. I'm currently going to grad school for counseling, basically. It's mental health counseling. I just feel like counseling is something that takes the gifts that I have and I can maximize the good in the world through doing it. So it's good. I feel it's very self-efficacious, but it's also really nice just to help people and deal with something that's such an important issue in today's society. So originally, I was going to school for media, so filming and photography. But I made a switch. I think junior year. I just realized that counseling was a better avenue for me to still be creative, but it was also something that I felt like I wouldn't get tired or frustrated or burnt out with over time. And so, luckily, everyone in my life was supportive about it. It wasn't a big deal when I decided to switch. So it was nice to get that support and, I guess build up some confidence that I can really do this thing. My support system's actually really awesome. I'm super grateful for it. Just between family and friends, I have a significant other. Everyone is so supportive, and I don't know, they're always so eager to come out to when I have a show, or if something's hanging up at a coffee shop, they always want to go and see it. So it's really awesome. I think it's one of the big things that's kept me going, is the support of other people. I think if it was just myself, not saying that I couldn't do it, but I think it's a lot harder road to walk on, when there's no one kind of behind you cheering you on sometimes. Usually the art process starts with just some inspiration. If it's something I've read, something I watched, or just something I feel. I usually use that as the impetus to start to create a new painting, new work of art. And then I don't know, I'm a very impatient person, so I like to get it done in not a day, a couple days. So it's usually something that I become really obsessed with and really dedicate myself and dedicate a lot of time to completing it. I feel like the emotions and feelings that we have are sometimes so fleeting, and it's such a big part of my work that I want to capture it while it's still volatile. Current events do influence my work. I think maybe more than I'd like to admit. I think there is a slight political tinge to a lot of my paintings, but I try to stay a little bit distant from that. But I do think, things for instance, the COVID virus has been really influential on a lot of my work as of late. I would say a large similarity between a lot of the artists and other creative people that have influenced my work is that I'm always inspired by their bravery and commitment to make what they've made. I really respect people that are iconoclasts and trailblazers that do their own thing and really don't worry about what the repercussions are or how it's going to be viewed. There are many times where I feel like I'm kind of chickening out of exploring a topic deeper or trying to play it safe. I think it's something that a lot of artists struggle with. I mean, a lot of us have to toe the line between making stuff for a commercial reason to get money to put food on the table, as well as making things that are really new and unique and personally fulfilling. I always try to be brave. I take the people that inspired me and try to live up to what they've done, try to follow in their footsteps. The Pittsburgh art scene, it's tough to define in terms of what the sects are, or if there's a hierarchy or anything like that, because it is very undefined. There isn't much organization, even in terms of who the top people are, who the bottom people are. Doesn't know. On one hand, that's a really good thing because it means that people are able, like me, to kind of carve out their own space, and they don't have to kind of go through the rigmarole of starting out small and going bigger and then going big and then going big. I guess the one drawback is that, I guess, on the other side of it, when you look at museums and galleries, it's often tough to find a footing just because I think right now the supply is way higher than the demand. The demand's still very high. So I know there's a lot of artists like myself that struggle to get exposure through galleries, through even just a coffee shop. And so I think social media has done a lot to, I guess, equalize that playing field for every like Pittsburgh artist. But it's still very tricky just because I don't think there's any artist in Pittsburgh that knows what the Pittsburgh art scene looks like or will look like. For artists, I think Pittsburgh can do a great deal to improve the relations between artists in the city. That is all to say that it seems like to be able to make art a full-time job, to make it like a full-time thing that you can live off of, you do have to sort of sell a little bit of like the individualism or like the personal expression or maybe even like experimental part that comes with being an artist. Maybe that's resigned to painting murals that you really don't want to paint, or maybe that's resigned to, you know, putting a sculpture that you worked really hard on and it has to go in an alleyway that no one's ever going to see. And so I think just mutual trust between the city and artists, I think, goes a long way. It would be nice to see art and art events, art experiences expanded more across not only maybe the city but across maybe like counties. I know there are some areas in like southwest Pennsylvania that are kind of a real vacuum for art. And let's say they're a vacuum for artists. There are probably still very few people that live in those areas, but there's never an opportunity for them to ever showcase anything that they make. I think it's just important that no matter where you kind of are on the map, you get an equal shot in showing who you are. When I think of cities that Pittsburgh could emulate, or at least like take some wisdom from on how to support artists and like foster artists, I think one of the first that really comes to my mind is actually Reykjavik in Iceland, which is a little ways away, but you know, they don't have a lot to work with in terms of the actual population. It's only about like 100,000 people, so it's 1/3 of the actual like city limit size of Pittsburgh. But it's just such a vibrant city, and I think it's really almost like mutual trust in a way. You know, the city trusts that the artist will like make beautiful art that really like helps showcase what the city is known for, like kind of makes the city look more lively, and then I guess the reflex of that is that the artists trust the city that they won't try and commercialize their work like the instant it's on a mural. They're not going to try to have a corporate tie-in. They're not going to try to do this or that. And so it's really organic. It's really healthy. And I think if you're the only one that's ever been there, they'll say that like, it just feels like a really magical town for a lot of reasons. I think when we look at Pittsburgh and art, there's still a surprising amount of people that have this connotation of Pittsburgh as like a very grungy, factory town with dilapidated buildings and just garbage everywhere. And that's really not true. I think Pittsburgh is such a vibrant and unique and historically important place in general, that I think it's so special that you really have to be here and experience it to see how it's not portrayed in media or how it's not portrayed in people's anecdotes. Within art, I think what really sets it apart is the fact that there is no Andy Warhol anymore. There's not one big fish at the top that is like the crown jewel artist of the city. And that's actually a great thing, because for any outsider who wants to come in here, you can find whoever you want to be your crown jewel. Because dye is almost a separate part of me, I do want dye to be things that maybe I cannot be. Maybe dye's aspiration is to be like a world famous artist, highly influential, but there's other parts of me as well that kind of float and gravitate towards other things, other career aspirations, other personality traits I want to embody more. And so it really is interesting, because when you ask who do I want to be, I can't be someone without Dai, but I won't be able to merge both personalities to become someone, I guess, more coherent or more full in the future.